Welcome to the Bloodcast, the podcast where we talk about superhero gadgets and technology that has made its way into the real world. I'm your host, the Blood Spider, and this week I am joined with the spectacularly amazing. Everybody, if you are born under a rock, then you don't know about the amazing, but I'm pretty sure everybody listening to my podcast knows about him. He's one of the biggest juggernauts that this community has to offer, one of the guys that started it all. And without any further ado, I'm going to let him introduce himself to you guys.
Hey everyone, I'm the Amazing, and I'm very honored to be here with Blood Spider. As he said, I've been, part of this for quite some time, but I'm just excited to be here to talk with someone else who's doing the same thing that I'm doing.
Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on this show. I wanted actually to get you on here for a while. You made your first video, your first channel video on September 8th, 2015. Jesus. September 8th.
See, that's actually kind of that's actually not true, because I had to delete my channel and restart it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the first video actually came out in January of 2015.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then I had been, publishing videos. My channel grew to over 1,000 subscribers by August, but then I had to delete it, and then I made a new one and re-uploaded everything. So, yeah. Why
did you have to delete it? You care to share?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was a kind of a dumb thing, but all that matters is that I'm here now. So that was almost 5 years ago, so it's not really a big deal.
Well, I mean, as one of the guys that has made the most drastic leaps and bounds in this community, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to hold it against you for making another channel. It was so long ago. But as of right now, what do you got going on? What kind of projects you got going on?
Well, I'm currently, amidst all of the real life stuff that I'm doing, trying to perfect our bowler wrap web shooter.
That thing's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the Human Spider and I have been working together on a couple of projects, and he hasn't been on this podcast, has he?
Not yet. Next week he's coming on.
Oh, is he really? Oh, wow. Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so we're working on a few projects together, and he's just super smart, so I'm pretty honored to be doing that with him. But yeah, the bowler wrap web shooter is essentially you can look it up. It's pretty common, actually. They're trying to put a similar device into law enforcement departments.
Yeah, they have them over by me.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really, really good. I mean,
yeah.
I think that's honestly, I think that it should be all over the country. It's the best non-lethal weapon that I've ever seen, for sure.
Oh yeah. No, I told Human Spider this, and I'll tell you the same thing. That thing, when you guys perfect it, that's like you guys up the scale now. Like that thing could legitimately save somebody's life one day. Like, no joke.
Yeah, I sure hope so. So I've been basically experimenting with different cartridge designs for this, and I just printed a new one today, and I'll probably test it tomorrow. The big problem with testing it, though, is that it's so loud, and it sounds like a firecracker at this point. I've been experimenting with different kind of acoustic foils on the inside to see if it is able to kind of muffle the sound, or that sort of thing.
Now, is this thing nitrocellulose powered?
Flash cotton, yeah.
Yeah. So, does the heat from that affect the print at all?
Nope.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, if you can believe that. I mean, no, I mean, it's just a large amount of heat for less than a second, so
yeah,
it's not going to be, a very it's not going to melt or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure
warp it.
These cartridges are meant to be disposable, but I've been testing them over and over again. So,
Oh, really?
on the off chance that I, come across one after it being used, it can still be used. So,
Well, what are you printing in? Just PLA?
yeah, it's just PLA.
Oh, wow.
Originally, we were going to do. Well, I actually brought this to Human Spider. There's a very cool. I don't know if you've worked with polyurethane filaments before, but
No, I've seen them, though.
yeah. So basically, polyurethane filaments, the layers don't come apart as easily after they're printed, and so they have flexible ones like Ninja Flex, but then they have one called Armadillo that's actually the hardness of it's of normal. Normal hard plastic, or it's a little bit more flexible. I don't know exactly what the shore hardness is, but definitely more than like 95A for sure.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so we were originally going to do that, but I don't know. It just doesn't print as well as PLA, and so all of the parts fit together so much better if you do PLA. And so we
Yeah.
just did PLA and tested his first. So the PLA on his, he was like, yeah, it's fine, and he printed it at 50% density, and he's like, yeah, if 50% density, it totally survives. If you do it at 100, it'll be fine. I'm like, okay, cool. So I've been doing it at 100 just to be safe, and I have a different design than he does. We've kind of been working separately on the same thing, but yeah,
just kind of sharing notes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's a good way to work. I mean, we've worked several different ways, and we're still, even though we've done a couple projects together now, we're still kind of finding our rhythm, I guess.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
We have one, but it changes, and so.
Well, yeah. I mean, as soon as you guys announced that you were working together, I knew that you guys were gonna make something incredible, and you did.
Yeah.
You did. The best web shooters were the best web shooters. I mean, especially the fold down trigger that you made, man. Holy shit.
No, for sure. Yeah, the thing about the web shooters is like it's just the big problem is you want to be able to wear them and do anything in them.
Right.
Even it's as if they're not there, and then if you decide to use them, you should use them, and they should work perfectly. That's what you want out of them, and so pretty much no web shooter that's been created has been able to do that. And it doesn't help that when people show them off, they're only showed off in a in a YouTube video that can be edited, and then so you never really see the true performance of a web shooter over the internet, because people will always try to show that they have the best one, and
I mean, I rarely ever post my fails.
No, me neither.
The only really one that I ever did was because I'm updating the concealable. I'm making a big old video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm showcasing everybody your first original design with the wristwatch and the little like homemade valve that you made.
Yeah, that's the least favorite one that I ever made. I don't know why you're interested in that, but
I mean, you know what? I mean, in terms of practicality, I don't know, how much that can hold up. But I mean, even the one that you made, dude, like even for like a mace device, that thing's,
That's true. Yeah.
It works, gets the job done.
You're right.
But so with human spiders, the problem that I was having was the levers for the trigger and the nozzle, because the stream has to pass through the nozzle.
That's right.
And, as opposed to, I think you were the one who actually told me this. Butane valves open up slower than the kind of one-way check valve that you guys made. So my fluid reacts my air reacts with the fluid way too fast. The fluid reacts with the air too fast, and it was kind of just like blocking that space, and then it would all kind of get gunked up. So
the other thing that's sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, go ahead.
The other thing about the valve that we made from we used hardware store parts and an O-ring and a ball bearing. I use magnets, but just because they're smoother.
Everything fits together better.
Yeah, so those three things basically make up the valve. Everything else is just auxiliary. So, I mean, when our valve opens in theory, it preserves laminar flow
Right.
by basically have the fluid just flow around this ball and into the opening. Like the ball is an obstruction, of course, but it's less of an obstruction than in a butane valve or aerosol valve. You know, you have a
They
bunch
got
of
those
different.
springs and those gaskets and stuff in
Yeah,
there.
so there's springs and gaskets, and it has to go through a bunch of right angle channels in order to get out, and so
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really work so well for things to come out at great speeds. That's you want a more laminar flow for that. That's why it's good for aerosols and stuff, because that stuff just has to disperse.
Yeah, no, you're right. But see, I'm gonna attempt to make both versions of the best web shooter. Because I got that Pokemon mentality, dude. I was telling you last time we were talking about them. I want to make like a web shooter museum.
Yeah, you want to catch them all. That's such a fun idea, I think. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see everything together, especially if we have like a really good product at the end of the.
Yeah, man. I mean,
the end of this.
I fell in love with that, and I think honestly it's the trigger that like sold me the most. But I am in love with your version of the best web shooter. It's so clean. It looks so good. Like, man, I would wear that thing. I'm gonna wear it every day. What am I saying? I'm going to.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's I like that web shooter a lot, especially because of the trigger. And
is that the one that you took to Savannah with you?
Yeah.
Nice.
we're remaking that one. I'm actually doing most of that because Human Spider has been focusing on the bowler wrap, but I'm working on that web shooter except making it a dual fluid web shooter instead. And I actually already have everything made. I just haven't had time to load it up and try it. Yeah, I also want to experiment more with the single fluid ones. But
have you ever done a dual fluid shooter yet?
Yeah, I did. A while ago in 2017. The only place you can see it, I think, is in my video that I made after my year-long break from 2016 to 2017, because that's when I developed it.
Okay.
I made it in January of 2017, and so basically it uses those two of the Keurig solenoid valves, which I could use because this was back when I was using isobutane as a propellant.
Yeah.
Because it has a low vapor pressure, like 30 psi or something. And sometimes that was still even too high for those valves, so it wasn't the most reliable thing. But I experimented with dual fluids, I was using, what was I using? I actually still have these fluids in my drawer here, but I don't have a use for them. I might try them with this new dual fluid one. But so the polymerization reaction of polyvinyl acetate, which is Elmer's glue, or just school glue, white glue.
Oh yeah, PVP.
Yeah, with a borax solution.
Okay, so you're pretty much making like strong slime, pretty much.
Yeah, that's right. So I was using the slime polymerization reaction, and it's a pretty simple one. The only problem is that the reaction happens between the polymer and the I guess in this case it happens between the monomers and the borax. Yeah. So you also have water in the equation, so water just gets left behind, and it's not the best thing. But of course, that's going to be the case for this new dual fluid reaction that we're working on. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But water is going to be left over, and I don't know if that's going to be. It'd be nice if that kind of mixes with the propellant a little bit and off gases.
Yeah.
But you never really know if those two things are soluble and if they form an azeotrope like that. I don't know.
Well, I had an idea a while back.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of using. I mean, the only thing this is all theory, just written it down. But I was thinking about using some type of one of the evaporation formulas. So maybe like the MEK and the styrofoam. But
Okay.
the plan was there's this stuff. It's for when you want to like mix paint dye, but it's the base of it, and
Mhm.
this MEK can dissolve it, and it's actually a really awesome polymer.
Mhm.
But instead of heat, I was going to see how it would react with R134A because it doesn't seem like it wants to activate with, or I'm sorry, when I mixed it with
Mhm.
the butane, because I tried butane first, and it pretty much separated the MEK, the paint dye, and then the styrofoam completely. It turned the styrofoam into like a gunk, and it just kind
Mhm.
of settled to the bottom, and then it separated the MEK, the paint dye, and then the butane, and those mixed together, but it just left the styrofoam behind.
Yeah, the thing I'm not a big fan of methyl ethyl ketone. That's what you're talking about,
Yeah,
MEK. Um, it's you see
it's
the thing
dangerous
is
stuff.
it is, yeah, and if you want I have to suggest if all you need is a solvent for styrofoam or polystyrene, um, I would use D-limonene, but you've probably heard of that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's
so
definitely a safer alternative. I found it's a MEK substitute. It's
uh-huh.
because that shit's illegal out here. The
Okay.
regular MEK, they ban that.
Uh-huh.
And I mean this stuff's still pretty harsh, man. Like it's
Yeah.
not. I honestly wouldn't recommend any inside use with this thing. I wouldn't
And
recommend.
what is the substitute? Do you know what it is?
Um, here, hold on. I got the can right here.
Okay.
Let's see. MEK substitute. Use wherever MEK is recommended. Let's see. Um, including polyester, epoxy resins, ink, adhesives, and contact cement.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Contact cement. So probably like hexane or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have any actual chemicals on it. Oh wait, here we go. Nope, never mind. Damn it.
Well, I mean, whatever it is, I'm sure there are enough warnings on the label that it
Oh,
can't be good.
ethyl acetate.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That stuff
Yeah.
isn't much better. I mean,
No, it's not.
yeah. I mean, I stray away from stuff like that. That's the stuff we work with in chemistry class, and you got to wear lab coats and goggles and
Yeah.
gloves and stuff. I prefer because D-limonene, people use that for cleaning their house.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it
it's like oven
dissolves
cleaner.
polystyrene. Yeah, I mean, I remember I experimented with that and polystyrene when I was 14. When probably by the time when I was like 14, 15, I was experimenting that probably for like a year and a half, and then eventually, because what did I do?
Start forgetting
Yeah,
stuff.
so basically, I was experimenting with that, but I didn't have a gas propellant or a liquid propellant. I was using compressed air, because that's what I was using back then. But then when I moved to isobutane, it doesn't mix with the polystyrene, and I think it's because isobutane is not polar, but polystyrene is.
Yeah.
And so, but the D-limonene mixed with the isobutane instead, so that as soon as you can't do that, the polystyrene D-limonene isobutane mixture together because the polystyrene will separate from the other two, and then you won't be able to shoot it out. That literally happened as soon as I put it in. It just becomes like a spiral of pure polystyrene
Now,
inside the
is the
canister.
isobutane, is that pretty much the same thing as like regular like lighter butane, or is it just pure pretty much?
So the thing is about the iso prefix is it's an isomer. Um, So they have it's
Oh,
the same chemical formula but different chemical structure. So they are different chemicals. Butane has a much lower vapor pressure. Butane's vapor pressure is probably only about 15 or 20 psi. Isobutane's vapor pressure is more like 30. At least that's what I can say off the top of my head. I mean, I'm not a
yeah,
chemist, so
yeah,
someone feel free to correct me. But no, that's
yeah.
that's the relationship that they have. But they do have different properties because of their different chemical structures. Um, so I wouldn't interchange the two if I were you. That's
Yeah.
not. I,
Yeah, no,
I'm.
I honestly, I think I'm just gonna scrap this stuff. I mean, there's just not really a good practical use for it. It's just, it's too dangerous.
Yeah. No, I feel it. I
Plus, I mean, my web fluid is way better than anything I can make with this, I think.
yeah, yeah. And I wish we had an even safer alternative. That's what we're working on with the dual fluid shooter. But of course, there are downsides to everything. So you're going to have two canisters and two tubes. So we'll see how it works out. But I think we're still a long ways off from what we all want to reach, which is, the incapacitating polymer spray.
Well, yeah. See,
Um,
that's my goal for it, because,
yeah,
I
that's honestly the only goal if that makes sense.
yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mean, it is a realistic thing to make a wrist mounted polymer extrusion device
Mm-hmm.
that you can subdue somebody with, when obviously when everything is created, right? But, like, I mean, just imagine that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, you're a civilian, not even, doing your amazing stuff. Just a civilian. You're walking down the
Oh
street
yeah.
one day. Somebody comes up to you, tries to mug you, whatever the case may be, just tries to beat the shit out of you, whatever. You don't even,
Yeah.
I mean, out here in Chicago, if you tase somebody and they have a heart attack or something, you're screwed. If
Yeah. I
you,
mean, that's the way it is everywhere, I think.
yeah, if you pepper spray somebody and, like, they have, like, an allergic reaction, even if you're, like, in your rights and it was self-defense, if they have, like, an
Mm-hmm.
allergic reaction or something to it, if they got, like, a pepper allergy or something,
Yeah.
they can
Yep.
sue your ass. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, damn. Now
Yeah.
this is
I
a
mean,
device that literally just holds you there. Nobody has to get hurt. Nobody has to,
yeah.
get shot. Nobody has to get maced. Nobody has to get tased. Nobody has to get stabbed. It's,
Yeah, it's the same. That's the same thing with the bowler app for sure. That
yeah.
it literally causes no adverse effects except the person is immobilized. Um, yeah, I mean the ultimate goal for me, I think, is be able to basically the idea of having superpowers, right, is that you can access them at any time.
Right.
And I mean, if you're like Batman, you got to put on a suit and put on gadgets and stuff. It's kind of, that unfortunately, that becomes premeditated violence,
Yeah. Yeah.
essentially.
Yes, it does.
And it's not the best thing, um, you know, and like you said, to be able to be just walking around and have the ability to subdue someone who is um, going after you, that's something that
Yeah, so you can,
everyone,
at the
I
very
think,
least, get away. You don't even
yeah,
have to defend yourself. Just, web them
exactly.
up and leave them there. Run.
Well, the point of any self defense is to get away.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I tell my wife all the time, because I got her a taser and everything too, it's
Hmm.
because we like to go to the city every now and then, it's just, you never know.
Hmm.
And
Is it
problem that,
a stun gun or a taser?
oh, it's a stun gun. It's
Okay.
it's, it's one of those cartridge tasers, but it actually shoots out the prongs.
Oh, that's a taser.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually confusing the terminology because a taser is the one with the prongs that shoot out, and a stun gun is just one that you press up against somebody.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, every time nobody knows what that is, but
yeah. But yeah, no, one of the biggest things that she was doing for a long time, and I kept bitching at her for it, was she used to keep it around in her purse,
Mm-hmm.
and she works the overnight at one of the hotels out here.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's a front desk lady, she gets drunk assholes, homeless people in there all the time,
Mm-hmm.
people trying to grab her ass and stuff, drunk ass douchebags,
Yeah.
So, but one of the things that she used to do, and, like I said, I used to bitch about it for longest time until she finally stopped. She used to keep it in her purse.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, babe, what if something happens, like right now, and even if your purse is on the side of you, you're not gonna have time to dig around in there and look around for it, get it out, flip the safety off and have it ready to use in time.
Right.
So I 3D printed her a little holster for it that she could put on her belt because they can't have weapons there. But how I made the holster, it actually goes inside her pants, so she can
wow.
so she can hide it under her like shirt or like a cardigan or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now she keeps it there because that's a thing for anybody. Even if you are like the type of person that wants to carry around a knife, if that shit's in your pocket, you might not have time to get it out. Anything can happen. You could get grabbed right over, or whatever, whatever the case may be. This thing's on your wrist, ready to go at all times. At the push of two fingers, in the Spider-Man position.
Yeah.
And it's just, man, dude, I've been saying this for a while. That's like literally the ultimate form of self-defense. And whoever patents that and creates it and starts selling it to the masses as a novelty self-defense weapon is going to be a billionaire.
Yeah, well, don't expect me to do that, but...
I mean, it's either going to be you or human, for real.
Yeah.
You guys are the two that have everybody copies off of, everybody wants to be, and everybody wants to talk to and get advice from. Like,
well, that's sweet.
It's you and him, man.
Yeah. It's been a weird journey, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it's definitely weird. It's a very weird community, man. It has really, really fucking cool people in it, and then it'll turn around and then it'll be like, oh man, where am I?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, honestly.
Well, that's actually one of the subjects I wanted to talk to you about.
Perfect.
What's your craziest either attempt at getting information from you, attempt to, try and join one of your either astral branches or something? What is the craziest attempt somebody has made either to get a gadget or to talk to you? Craziest story you've heard?
Well, the benefit that I have that I think you and human don't is that I'm not on Instagram.
No.
So it's a lot harder to contact me. The only thing I post, you can really only reach me through Discord, YouTube comments, or my email, but no one really knows my email.
Right.
Because I just have it on my YouTube channel and people don't really check the about section.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I get emails, and the emails that I really love are the ones where people are like, hey, I built this, look at this, and tell me what you think. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So I message them back. I'm like, that looks great, just keep at it. And, I ask them questions like, yeah, how does that work? And, you might want to think about this. And so I love getting emails like that. I mean,
yeah, those are the good ones.
Those are the great ones. I mean, those people, they start out just like I started out. Yeah, I mean, they're fantastic. The crazy ones, I think, they've kind of died down. I don't know what it is. I mean,
yeah, it has a little bit, but I mean, at least on Instagram, it's terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, that is kind of like the place where crazy people go to find other crazy people.
Yeah. It's wild, dude, and it's like, cause don't get me wrong, man. Like, there's so much cool shit. Like, that's one of the main reasons why I have one is because like, the Spidey community on Instagram is fucking lit, dude. Like,
really.
Oh yeah, like there's amazing cosplayers on there. There's so many inventors that just make like it's a lot of repetitive versions of the same web shooters that we've seen. There's a lot of versions of like Hero Tech Shooter that are like just designed to look like other web shooters.
Yeah.
There's fluid shooters, but it's just the engineering that people do and stuff like that, and the 3D printing and all this stuff, even the homemade ones, like there's a really whole side of that where it's like, holy shit, these it's just amazing to see what young people can come up with in their basement,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all really cool, you know, and that's why I joined in the first place, you know, was
Mm-hmm.
to be a part of that. But there's a whole other side of the spectrum, man, where it's just like pretend land.
Yeah.
And I
Speaking of
mean,
which,
yeah,
well,
go ahead.
go on. Yeah, no, please continue.
Oh, well, I'm pretty much just saying like, oh man, you know, I've gotten threats from people saying like, oh, you know, I know your address and your identity and all this. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
give me one of your formulas, then I'm gonna
Yeah.
release your information. Da 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 da. You know, people threatening that they're gonna kill themselves. People
Yeah.
trying to convince me that they have
But then
superpowers.
you don't really care about your identity, do you?
No, no, not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one I called their bluff on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just the craziest shit, and I'm not even like I wouldn't even consider myself anywhere near as big as like you or human, and
Mm-hmm.
I could just only imagine the kind of stuff that he gets. I mean, he sent me some of the stuff that he
Yeah,
gets
he
before.
sent me
That's
some of that
just
stuff too. I don't know how he
outrageous.
deals with it. It's just insane.
Dude, I got mad props to that dude because he has a lot of patience with
Oh yeah.
you know, because it is a lot of it is kids, you know, so you don't want to like blow up on a kid, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but oh man, it's just like, you know, because I if anybody wants any of my formulas, they can go on my Patreon and get it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I charge $30 for that tier, but that's
Yeah.
all of my formulas, and it's only a one time payment.
Right.
It's not a monthly thing either.
Right.
And
Right.
you get from brain ions to my version 15 now, and you get all in-depth personal tutorial of all anyone that you want, and every new version I make, I update it, you know, and it'll be
Mm-hmm.
put on there.
Yeah.
And like, dude, you would not believe, like, I had one kid trying to he messaged me trying to say that he was his dad, and he subscribed to the Patreon, and you know, he paid for it and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh yeah, you know, looking all through the my Patreon and through my emails and shit. Like, did it take this guy's money and not like give him the
Yeah.
tier? Like, what the hell's going on, you know?
Right.
And I'm like about to the point where I'm about to email Patreon and be like, hey, you know, something's messed up with this dude's account. You know, he tried to
Uh-huh.
subscribe to me and he said that he got charged. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you know, when I started asking him about it, because I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm looking everywhere, I don't see anything. He's like, oh, it might be subscribed under my son's name. And I'm like, okay, what's your son's name? And he gave me a
Mm-hmm.
name, and then like before I could respond to it, he's like, oh wait, no, never mind. I mean, his name is this other name. And then I'm like, okay, all right. So
Wait,
this
what?
is just a kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think a dad would casually forget their son's name, but
Right. Yeah.
you know.
That's
But yeah, it's just stuff like that. That's what
whatever.
Instagram's all about.
I do have to say, now that you mentioned stuff like that, I do remember this one time someone messaged me on Hangouts, and this was back in 2017,
Oh man.
and it was this guy claiming to like own this lab, and they were testing a super suit, you know, and he was like, yeah, so like this super suit, you know, like we want you to try it, and you just have to like, like give us your address so we can send it to you.
What the
And I'm
fuck?
like, okay. So I just kind of like, I knew it was bullshit immediately, but I went along with it for a little while, just to make sure, partially because I was just 18 at the time.
I mean, I'd be curious, even if somebody messaged me about a super suit. I'd be like, all
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Yeah, so,
if there's a slight chance you might be telling the truth, I'm game.
yeah. So, so he went on and he started talking about what it could do. And so I was like, yeah, what can it do? And he's like, it can, he said it could climb up walls. And I'm like, how does it do that? And he's like, it uses this method. And he said some crazy science bullshit. And, I was immediately, like, if this was a real thing, I would know about it,
Yeah.
So, like, whatever force interaction was used, I would know about it because I would have researched it. And he went on to say some stuff, and I'm like, well, does it weigh a lot? And he's like, no, it's made of this like material that's like super light but like super strong, like it's skin tight and bulletproof. And I immediately was like, that doesn't exist at all.
Yeah,
So
no,
I think yeah, I mean, aside like material science literally does not allow for materials like that.
no.
But I was like, well, how do you power it? Because like he said it like had like a heads up display and like could fly or some shit. And
Oh
then
wow.
I was like, yeah, how do you power something like that? And he's like, oh, it uses like this battery that is like the size of a what did he say? Like the size of a jeez, like the size of a car key or some shit that is like 10 times as powerful as the sun.
What?
And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I eventually just called him on his bullshit, like to his face. Well, I guess over the internet, but
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, this is so rude. I can't believe you would do this. Say goodbye to this opportunity forever." And then
Oh.
he was like, I will never message you again. And then like I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, I don't care. And then like the next day he messaged me again and was like, if you're ready to apologize, we can continue. And I'm like, no, man,
Damn.
shut up.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Wow. Man. If that was a real scientist, he's a pretentious douchebag. I wouldn't want to wear his suit anyway. Like you
If he
could
was a
take
real
that suit and
scientist, I
shove it up
actually would
your
want to wear that suit. I have no shame. But that is scientifically impossible. So yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's some fucking Batman Beyond shit. That's what it sounded like he was describing was the Batman Beyond suit.
No way, Jose.
So speaking of suits, let's talk
I
about
thought this was
yours.
coming.
Oh
I
yeah.
knew this was coming.
Dude, I was digging it, man, especially those shoes.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I've had this suit. I mean, I've been, tweaking it a little bit, but the main part, I've had it since a little over a year ago. And
Yeah,
that
that's
was
the one with the mainframe and everything in there too, right?
it was, yeah. It was. That whole power pack thing it's in my closet, but it still works. It just became too impractical to actually use. So I still have it, and it still works. It still has working web shooters, working working screen, working grapple, working. It was just cumbersome and.
Oh man, I remember that video of you shooting that grapple. Sorry. But that was awesome. You're just like, yeah, so I'm gonna let's test this out. This is the first time I ever tested this. And then you're crouching down, and then you stand up, and it just, fa! That thing just launched across whatever little like field that you were over.
Wow,
I
I
was
do
like,
not remember
holy
this
shit!
video at all.
You were in a field, and it was cold as shit,
Uh-huh.
and it was like, it was that the one that it was on the top of your hand, the little combustion
Oh
grapple
yeah.
frame that
No,
you
that's
made.
not part of that super suit. Yeah,
Oh,
no, but that
oh,
did work very well. No, the grapple one on the other one didn't really. I mean, it was tiny and it was a coil gun, so not super powerful.
oh, yeah, that
Yeah.
one. Okay,
Um,
man, you got too much shit. I can't keep up with it
I
all.
do, but none of it is really practical. But whatever. But yeah, so that was my big project for 2018 was developing that suit with the mainframe and everything and eventually I was like, yeah, I really like the base, but I want to be able to like because the base is protective and it looks good, but I want to be able to choose to wear it without the backpack. So basically it took a
Yeah.
little bit of work, but I separated them, and so now I have that without that, and I can choose what gadgets to wear. Yeah.
How's your visibility in that thing?
Yeah, I mean that's more of a question of the mask, and I talked a little bit about that in my recent video, but the shiny lens mask, which I really like because it looks really good, and I also asked them to extend the neck a little bit so it goes way deep, but I just literally cannot get the lenses to defog. Like I have a spray, I have everything, and I just never that's never been a good thing for me having lenses. I usually have mesh. So then, I
Yeah.
literally had to take that off and go back to my old one, which is mesh. But I don't like that one as much because the neck doesn't go as far down. Um, so it's basically, it depends. The visibility in the mask with the mesh though is pretty much perfect. Um,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
I mean, when the other one fogs up, it's impossible to see. So
Yeah. I don't. You said that you had the spray and it didn't work. That you got like the scuba diving
yeah,
mask
yeah. Maybe
spray.
I should do a little bit more, but I don't know.
Damn, that
Yeah,
sucks.
I could try it again. I just haven't had much time to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what is that? Your emblem? Did you 3D print that, or did you make that?
So the emblem, originally I designed it, and I originally 3D printed it, but the the spider arms would fall off. But so it's these black plates. They're 3D printed, and those are actually, they have carbon fiber and Kevlar underneath them.
Oh,
Actually,
wow.
everything, all the plates that you see on that suit have 2 layers of carbon fiber and Kevlar. So the maximum you get in the suit is 6 layers around the chest and back area, um, with hard plastic. But the symbol itself is, I this year I decided to paint it on. Actually, I did that just before the summer ended. I decided to paint it on because then every time I put it in the wash, the plastic arms would fall off. But the middle spider part
Oh,
is
yeah.
still 3D printed plastic. But it looks really good now and it doesn't fall apart anymore. So I'm just continually
Yeah.
tweaking it.
I mean, that's what the real Spider-Man did, man.
Well, you mean the fake Spider-Man, but yeah,
Oh, yeah, the
the
fake
fictional
Spider-Man.
one. Who is
Yeah,
who
I
is
would
the real
say
one?
that
I guess. Yeah, that's true.
if either you or Human Spider, what are you talking about? I would say you guys are the closest things to the real Spider-Man that exists right now.
Yeah, could be closer, but
I mean, unless if we're talking about like mobility
hmm
wise, I would say the Monkey Man guy.
the Monkey Man guy.
Yeah, he's
Oh, the guy
I
who
don't
like
know where he's
climbs
from.
stuff. Well, yeah,
Yeah, but he can go, he could climb backwards up
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
dude.
I've seen that guy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that guy's probably got. I mean, at least he's in. Like I said, in terms of mobility, he's definitely got you guys
Well, yeah,
beat.
for sure.
He's got everybody
Yeah,
beat.
he's got literally the entire world beat. So
Yeah. Oh man. So, I was listening to a little bit of your last couple
yeah,
podcasts actually, and you were talking about, you got your own branch of the Astrals starting up
yeah.
out over by
In Ann
you.
Arbor, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Talk a little bit about that. What is your plans with
Yeah,
it?
so basically, I've been talking to Knight and some of the other Astrals about this, and the thing is I've never been as like I've never considered myself a part of the RLSH community. Like I've always figured that I've been completely outside of that. And so even now, the Astrals originally uh, considered themselves outside of that, and I feel like it's kind of my fault that they've been brought into that, unfortunately. But
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable, man. People think that I'm RLSH. People
yeah,
think Human Spiders are
yeah.
RLSH. It's just
I mean, it's not the best community right now, and I've always wanted I have always wanted to um, do it better than them. And even now, like I like Knight has some. I don't know if he'll listen to this, but if he does, he might be pissed at me. But whatever. Um, Knight has some lofty goals for the Astros. He's he's like, okay, we're this year we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of the team. But that's like the Savannah team. Not the whole not everyone.
Right, not the whole
Like he's
project.
saying that stuff, and like everyone else in the Astrals is like, oh yeah, that's great, like let's celebrate. And I'm sitting there like, yo, I literally just got started. There's literally nothing to celebrate, you know. So I'm not really feeling very festive, and I don't know why you guys are like, you know, celebrating instead of like actually doing stuff. But you know, whatever. Um, and I'm just kind of like, you know, Knight has some goals. He's like, yeah, I want to make connections, and you know, like we're gonna eventually, like it's gonna become like a government branch. And I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, okay, all right, man, you know, just you know, let's just you know take stock, you know, live in the present. That's what I am always about. I always live in the present. But you know, for my branch specifically,
Yeah, what are your goals
I
specifically? What do you
I
want to do
don't
with it?
I it goes along with that where I don't want it to be about the image, and I don't want it to be about the because I don't want it to be about the organization as a whole. You know, I don't want it to be about the Astrals. Uh,
Right, you want it to be about
I
what you
want it to be
do.
about Ann Arbor. You know,
Oh,
I want it to be about this city. I don't want it to be about me. I want it to become a part of this city. I want it to be, you know, something that people know about, that they can turn to when they need help.
right, to help out. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
That's what I want. And you know, along with that, you know, I think the first step for me is going to be recruitment, honestly, because I can't take care of some of these administrative steps that I'm going to have to take at the very beginning that I've already tried to take and failed to take. Um, these steps, I can't do them on my own. I literally just can't. So I'm going to have to, you know, recruit people in this area who, you know, have the same sort of ideals as me. Um, but hopefully with diversity of diverse backgrounds and diverse skills, you know, because I want people to join this team who, you know, don't aren't the same as me, you know, because then nothing's going to
Right.
get done if you know there's just another person who, you know, is like makes gadgets and you know runs around in a costume, you know.
Right.
I want other people to join who you know care about this idea as much as I do, you know, um, and that's essentially what I want. And so it's I want it to be another branch of the Astrals because I respect the Savannah branch very much, and I respect them for you know making connections and actually you know opening cases with the police that are really important and you know need to be taken care of. And you know without
Yeah.
them, you know, some of these cases, I mean, he can't talk about it, but he's told me some of the ones that they've been working on. And you know while we were there, he was getting you know uh texts from the police department like you know like we got another lead in this case, and you know and
Well, right. I mean, the fact of the matter is that police can't do it all by
yeah, yeah.
themselves. Like there's only so much that they can do. There's even if you know they're not doing shit necessarily by the
Mhm.
books. You know, there's everywhere. Wherever you go, there's always gonna be some crazy ass shit
Mhm.
going on, and a lot of times it slips under police. You know, and that's where you know neighborhood watches come in, and you know people like you guys come into play, you know, witnesses and eyewitness
Mhm.
testimonies. Like you know how many cases have been solved from an eyewitness
Yeah.
testimony that is like no other witness there except you know a neighbor looking out their
Mhm.
window that just had the willingness to go, you know, bring this to
Yeah.
court and testify what they
Mhm.
saw, and that caught, you know, one of the, you know, a sex offender or a murderer or you know something like that, because it's not about going out and beating the shit out of
Mhm.
people and trying to start fights and you know shit like that. It's not about that.
No.
That's not gonna solve
Yeah, I mean,
crime. That's not gonna.
the thing is, a lot of people don't realize that that's just not what the real world is. You know, that's just not
No.
how it works. Um, and you know, the focus should be on people. You know, not criminals. The focus
Right.
should be on people. People are the ones who need help. Who and oftentimes they need, you know, they need uh, something to turn to um, when everything else fails. You know, and
Yeah.
it's I think it's important that you know I, we provide that option.
Even even you were telling me when we were talking on Patreon, on when we had the or not on Patreon, on Discord when we had the Patreon chat. You were telling me that you know, you like to go, do a lot of homeless activism and stuff like that, and something that really stuck with me about what you said was that sometimes you don't even people don't even want money from you. They just want somebody to talk to, and just to change it up a little bit, because I mean, being homeless is one of the worst things that could ever happen to you in my opinion. Like, you just nowhere to go, nowhere to turn to. You got to be outside. I mean, obviously there's case scenarios to each situation. But it's still that's no life to live. That's terrible. And everybody looks at you like you're like a beaten dog. You're not even a human, and to other people. And it's just like, if somebody takes the time out of their day to give you some water, give you hell, even if it's a cigarette and a conversation, like that just reminds you that you're still a person, even though you're going through this rough time, and that's I admire that a lot about you, that you're you have the willingness to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I like hearing some of their stories too. I mean, I remember back when I was in high school when I would do this, just going out, and this was pretty much right before I left for college. That summer I went out a couple times. One of those times was the one with the spectacular.
Oh yeah, I remember that video.
Yeah, but I mean, another one of those times I got to walk in with this guy. His name is Arthur, and he was like, I was like, oh, you need anything? He's like, oh, I'm just super thirsty. I'm like, oh, I got some water. So that night I ended up giving him like 3 bottles of water. He hadn't had any water for I think like a day or two. And,
jeez.
Yeah, and so I walked with him, for like 5 or 6 blocks. At one point, this other guy started, pulling up to us like he was trying to fight me.
Oh man!
And I think pretty much right before he got there, I don't know, maybe he saw like how tall I was or something, but he just kind of like turned and went away. Like he was talking trash though. I mean, he was saying stuff like, "Yo, Spider-Man, yo, take off that mask, Spider-Man." And then he like came up, and then I was like, "No, dude," and then he just like went away. So that was weird, but the guy Arthur was with me, and so Arthur was like, leave him alone, man. I was like, yeah, thanks, Arthur.
Does that happen to you a lot? Do people try and fight you a lot?
That's the only time that's ever happened.
Really?
Usually people are pretty friendly. There's such a diverse range of reactions. It's hard to remember every single one. But usually the response is generally positive. Sometimes positive with like a hint of like disapproval, but whatever. I don't really care. But no, yeah. So this guy Arthur was telling me about how like he fell on hard times because he wasn't responsible with his money, but and then he was trying to go to school. He was getting his business degree. And so, last I saw, he was doing well. So I hope he still is,
Well, shout out to Arthur.
Yeah.
Wherever you are.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing good, Arthur. Alright, I'm going to do my mid-roll really quick. If you guys want to see any more of the stuff that we're talking about, any of these gadgets or the Amazings podcast with Knight and his Astral project, be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel, and he also has a Discord server that you can go be a part of as well.
Yes,
also,
please join the Discord and not make it full of children, please. That'd be great.
Yes. There's a lot of balance that needs to be corrected there. Yeah. Also, be sure you can subscribe to my channel too for more gadgets, more podcasts, and webfluid. And this is all made possible because of listeners and viewers like you. So thank you. Um, so one of the biggest things that I wanted to ask you tonight is, what is your biggest motivation to want to do this stuff? What is your biggest motivation to want to take your time out of your day to help your fellow man?
Yeah, that's a big question.
Oh yeah.
And it's a hard one to answer for me personally. I think, you know, a lot of the times uh, it's a result of a bunch of different things. When I was there's so many different ways to help people in this world. And that's a great thing. There's so many different avenues that you can go down,
Oh yeah.
um, and this is just the one that I'm on. And I started down this path when I was 13, and so I mean it's just kind of just been part of my life for so long. I honestly don't know how to get off of it, and I don't really want to get off of it because it has a positive impact, and I don't feel like ditching something that has a positive impact is a good choice. But the motivation comes from a bunch of different places. First of all, people like Arthur, people like the homeless people that I see on the streets of Ann Arbor, or even just the people that I see on the streets of Ann Arbor. And I'm not famous. They don't know that I'm the amazing when they see me.
Right.
Um, I introduce myself, but those people will probably only see me once just by chance, and then the next time I go out, I see a completely different set of
Oh
people.
yeah, definitely.
Um, and but seeing that you know people want pictures, people, the homeless people, they're happy to have someone to talk to. When I was with Arthur, I truly, but that was probably my biggest positive impact right there. And I still remember that day. It was more than 2 years ago, but I haven't forgotten that day, meeting him and how good I felt. It was the night before I left for college. Um, and I just remember, you know, seeing that and being like, this, there needs to be more of this in the world. There needs to be more people willing to think outside of the box when it comes to helping people. Um,
Yeah.
and we have a lot of good systems in place, but there's always room for improvement, and there's always room for more avenues for people to do this sort of thing. So I encourage people, if you're listening, or if you've seen my videos or you've seen Blood's videos, like, there's so many different things you can do with your life. Definitely choose to do something that has a positive impact on other people. And if you're interested in this sort of avenue, I'll have you know that it can have a positive impact. It's not just running around for the sake of looking like a superhero. That's what gives me the motivation is you know seeing seeing the people that I've helped, however few they are, and however I wish they were more in number. I wish I could help more people, but
I mean, it seems like
that's
you're on the right path to doing that, man. It really does.
yeah. I hope so. Yeah.
I mean, you've done so much. I mean, just in the YouTube community, you've inspired thousands of people to want to do what you do too. So, I mean, setting it up by you, I don't think you'll have a problem at all, especially with recruitment and actually getting something going with your local town and your township and everything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm almost wondering if you could like almost set it up as a neighborhood watch, and you guys can actually like get permits backing you and everything.
Mhm.
And then honestly, I mean, it probably wouldn't be any more than $300 to do all that.
That'd be interesting. I mean, for me personally, like, the idea of a neighborhood watch, I know that is kind of what I'm doing, and kind of what the Astrals are doing too, but it has such a bad connotation in my mind, for some reason. I mean, just because usually I think of a neighborhood watch as full of people who um, basically are just waiting for something to happen so that they can do something about it. Um, and I'm sure like there are people in neighborhood watches who don't think like that, but it's not far off from like the kids we see in the RLSH community who are just dying to be heroes, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
No, you're not
and
wrong.
I see news stories like George Zimmerman, shoot first, ask questions later, and I see, news stories of this guy in Florida who clearly had never shot his gun before, and he just had it in his car and was itching to use it, for anything, and he shot this guy dead because he parked in a handicap spot,
Jeez.
and that's not the kind of thing I want to be seen as.
Yeah,
I
no.
just want to be a group of people who want to do the right thing. Um, yeah.
I mean, that's the best thing to do, though, is just don't intervene, call the police, try and take as much mental information as you want. Don't even pull out your phone. I mean, that's what we were trained to do. Don't even pull out your phone and try and record anything, because that'll get people pissed off at you and want to cause a altercation.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yep.
like I said, dude, I think you're on the right path to doing something good. I mean,
Well, the thing is, it is a complicated world, and there are no simple solutions. But I think the important thing that I want to establish is a group of people who are always looking for solutions.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I wish you the best of luck, man, because I do want to see you succeed. I've been one of your biggest fans since the beginning.
That's crazy, man. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I was just a silent watcher at first, and I made a solenoid valve. I made your solenoid valve when you made the tutorial, and then I kind of just took a big, huge, long break and didn't really care about it for a long time.
That's crazy.
And then
I made that tutorial when I was 15.
yeah,
That's insane.
yeah, and then when I came back, like I shouldn't say come back. When I started, watching everybody's videos again, you were already at like, way past like, I think your new gadget video actually.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever one that you had the web chucks in.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, the Amazing Spider Dude was such a bad influence, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? What happened?
Well, he was just kind of he's like the grown-up version of the kids we see on our servers, basically.
Oh, I see. See, I've only talked to him like a handful of times, and it's only been very, very brief.
Yeah, I got respect for him. He has a YouTube channel. He has a message. I don't know.
Is he more wanting to be leaning towards the vigilante side?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. The Guardians and all that. No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. See, man,
They're throwing knives and shit. Yeah. No, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I like to do that too, but I usually.
No, but they're not doing it for fun.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing it for training.
Oh yeah, no. I just like to do it. Have a couple beers and chill with my friends, throw a knife into a log.
Oh man, sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'm just gonna assume you're straight edge, just by your image. I can edit this part out. Don't worry. Yeah, no, I am very 420 friendly. If you haven't noticed, that's
cool.
Yeah, it's legal by me, so it's legal by you too. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
No, it's not my thing, but.
Oh yeah, no, and it's definitely not for everybody. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I want to hear about your future gadgets. Anything that you haven't necessarily shared on the channel that you got in mind, even if it's just an idea that you got brewing around in your head.
Well, I have a couple plans. I mean, Human Spider and I are still working out some other stuff, like I said.
Yeah.
We are also working on a kind of like super power pack.
Oh yeah.
That will basically be a kind of we're aiming it to be something that you can wear. It'll be like a backpack, but it won't be like a backpack. It'll be just like a back plate basically.
Yeah.
That has batteries and power conversion capabilities. And then that plugs into your super suit, and your super suit has wires running through, and then you can clip whatever gadgets you want onto the wires, and the power pack will power it. That's something that we're working on.
That sounds really awesome.
That's definitely our kind of third kind of like back burner project. But every now and then we're like, yeah, so like let's talk about this and think about some of the solutions that we have in mind, and but for me personally, I really want a sort of a super suit that's not a super suit, if you know what I mean. I want to build something that I can wear, number one, in the winter because it's really cold here.
Oh yeah.
And I want to build something. It'll probably be more like kind of like a hoodie based thing, but I want it to have some kind of hidden capabilities.
So like a concealable super suit.
Yeah, concealable, but it would look like clothes in general. But it could be it could be just like concealable like webfluid cartridges or anything like that. I'm just aiming for something that I can wear while walking around, just to have and
Yeah, in your personal life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a really good idea. You you obviously the Batman fin blade things on his arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking about trying to make those, except what was it? It was either in 2 or 3 when it was Spider-Man 3 when Harry has those pretty much the same thing, but they're underneath like his suit, his suit shirt, and they kind of just like pop out and rip through his suit.
Yeah.
I was thinking about making something like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
It would be interesting to see how you could make that blend in with clothes, even when they're retracted, because they're still going to take up space when they're retracted.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have to be like a gauntlet of some type.
Yeah. Or, I don't know. I have a couple ideas, but, I don't know. It's not really my thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can even just do the like metal plating underneath, so like you can have like a forearm blocking.
Yeah, that's
capability.
True. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that is a good idea, man.
It would be nice.
Concealable super suit.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have something that is like a super suit, but not really. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like a just in case type thing,
Yeah.
Because I'm not one of those people who like goes out and is just like, today's the day I'm gonna find a crime and stop it. That's not me. I just like to be ready for anything. It's the reason why I make gadgets. It's the reason why I try to stay physically fit. It's the reason why I
Hey, you never know what's gonna happen, man.
Yeah. It's
Literally
about
anything.
It's about preparedness.
Yeah, man. But yeah, thank you so much, dude, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Wanted to get you on here for a while.
Yeah, I know. I know I've kind of blown you off a couple times.
No, it's all good, dude. I completely understand how it is right now. You're a busy man, so you don't even got to worry about it. But
thanks.
Everybody else, thank you for joining us this week on the Bloodcast. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channels and follow my podcast on any streaming services or platform. Make sure you follow the Amazing's YouTube channel and go ahead and subscribe to his Discord. We can all talk on there, and we like to talk about gadgets and web fluid and stuff like that.
It's a good time.
Yeah, oh yeah, most definitely. But while you're at it, tell your friends about the show. But yeah, amazing. Thank you again for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Blood. I'm just happy to be here.
But yeah, I'm Blood Spider, and thank you guys for watching and listening.